Good morning, Math 3 students. As you can tell, production value is declining. Hey, this is your week 6, lesson 2, and it's all about reciprocal trig ratios. And the good news on this one is that this is notes only. There is no homework related to this. So what is all about these reciprocal trigonometric ratios? Great news, or bad news, depending on how you feel. There are not just 3 trig ratios. It's not just sine, cosine, and tangent. There are actually 3 additional trig ratios. They are called cosecant, secant, and cotangent. So when we're looking at the sine ratio, it is the opposite over the hypotenuse. The cosecant ratio is the reciprocal of sine. So it is the hypotenuse over the opposite side of the triangle. So sine and cosecant go together. They are reciprocals of one another. For cosine, its reciprocal is secant. So cosine is the adjacent over the hypotenuse, while secant is the hypotenuse over the adjacent side. So cosine and secant are reciprocals of one another. And lastly, tangent is opposite over adjacent, and cotangent then, the reciprocal, would put the adjacent side over the opposite side. So tangent and cotangent are reciprocals of each other. Now, I know the names sound weird because why does sine go with cosecant and why does cosine go with secant? Great question. That's for another time, perhaps even in pre-calculus when you take it next year. So the other piece is, what are the abbreviations for these? Cosecant goes by CSC because it obviously can't go by COS. Secant goes by SEC, and cotangent goes by COT. So down here in example 1, this is kind of similar to what we will use tomorrow in the 3rd lesson. If sine of theta equals 2/3, what is cosecant of theta? Well, cosecant is the reciprocal of sine, so all we have to do is flip the fraction upside down. That's all it takes to find the reciprocal. Example 2, tangent of theta is 4/3, so what is cotangent? Well, cotangent is the reciprocal of tangent, so we just need to flip the fraction upside down. And as you can tell, one of my cats got angry. Example 3 here, we have a right triangle with side lengths of 4, 7, and 9, and our job is to find secant of angle A. Well, the secant of angle A puts the hypotenuse over the adjacent. It's the reciprocal of the cosine, so we want to identify the hypotenuse across from the right angle. We also want to identify the adjacent side next to A, so that would be the 7. And so secant would put 9/7. So secant will always be greater than 1 because the cosine ratio is always less than 1. So it's the reciprocal. All right, so that's it for the notes today. Make sure you have this marked down, and we will use this information in tomorrow's lesson. Good luck out there.